Greetings everyone and welcome back to the channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale figure unboxing and review. And today we're going to be taking a look at none other than Pennywise, the dancing clown from It Chapter 2, the 2019 follow-up to It from 2017, starring none other than Bill Skarsgård as the eponymous Pennywise himself. The review will take the usual format. We'll have a quick look at the box, then we'll be diving down onto the table to have a look at all the accessories that come with your It Pennywise figure. Then it'll be out with the titular clown himself onto the turntable, onto the stand, taking a look at the guy in close-up, and then we'll be going out, as we always do, with a mini showcase over in the Detolf. Just before we start though, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everybody who has liked, commented and subscribed to the channel. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification icon. As always, we've got a lot more stuff coming up on the channel. That'll get listed before we zip over to the Detolf. But yeah, just before we dive into the box as well, a little bit of background on this. As viewers to my channel will know, I'm a huge horror fan and have a lot of horror 1/6 scale figures in my collection. So it was a no-brainer for me to dive in with Pennywise when he was released. Just to let you know, this isn't a brand new figure. I've had this figure a while, but I really didn't want to class it as a retro review, simply because the figure itself, I think, was only released in 2022, so it's only got a couple of years' life on it. So I don't think that possibly classes as a retro figure. So we're going to treat it as if it was a new one, but it isn't brand new to me. I've had it in the collection a while. The film itself, I absolutely loved Chapter 1. I thought it was fantastic. It was creepy as hell, very well written, very well directed, and Bill Skarsgård performance as Pennywise, having an awful lot to follow after Tim Curry's great take on Pennywise. Skarsgård did a fantastic performance, suitably creepy, incredibly menacing, and just scary as hell. Chapter 2, not so much a love affair with Chapter 2. It was good, but I think they tried to cram a little bit too much into it. But if you haven't seen these films, I'd highly recommend seeking them out, unless, of course, you are a coulrophobic, in which case avoid them like a large pair of clown shoes. So yeah, we'll have a quick look at the box, and a very nice box it is too. On the front, the actual box itself is covered in this clear plastic slip case, and on the slip cover itself is a large red translucent balloon and lots of blood splatter, as you can see, on the back, on the sides, all the way around. Yeah, we'll take that off so you can get a better look at the box underneath. It just simply slides off. We'll put that to one side, and what you've got underneath, and I do like this box. The artwork on this is really, really good. I would suspect this. I'm not sure whether this is actually I don't think this is an actual image of the head sculpt of the figure, because it looks like we've got real hair there. So whether this is actually a picture of Bill Skarsgård himself in full Pennywise makeup. Probably is. I'll hazard a guess that it is, but not 100% certain on that. Then you've got some rather evil-looking black and white outlines of Pennywise in the background there. Obviously, you've got the It logo. It says Chapter 2 there. Pennywise at the bottom. Movie masterpiece. Hot Toys, as always. If you flip it round, that sort of red hair effect is continued on that side. Bring it round to the back. You've got the 3 doors at the top. Not scary at all. Scary and very scary. People who've seen the film will recognise those doors. It Chapter 2 again, and then you've got the full set of warnings and credits on the back, as you normally get with a Hot Toys figure. The warnings include, don't piss this figure off, or it might wake you up in the middle of the night and try to cheer you up with a red balloon. This side is another image of Pennywise. This time in blue as opposed to the red on the other side, but yeah, it's a suitably creepy box, but very, very well done. I do like this box. It's got some real presence and some real impact. You open it up, and inside we have obviously the figure itself under this clear plastic cover, and on the reverse of the lid it says "Come home and play," and there is a picture of Georgie there, I believe. In his raincoat. So yeah, that's the box, and very nice it is too. I think Hot Toys did a really, really good job with this box. So yeah, that's the box. So without further ado, let's dive down onto the table and find out and take a look at all the stuff that comes with Pennywise. Okay, so here we are down on the table with all the accessories that come with your Hot Toys Pennywise figure. As always, we'll start with the hands. You know me and my hands. There's an awful lot of hands here. It's great to see. They've really gone to town with the hands. I believe there's 10 in total, 4 pairs, and I believe, actually, let's just count them while we're here. That's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11 hands in total. I'll tell a lie. I believe that's because there's this special hand, which we'll come to shortly. But yeah, let's take a look at them. The vast majority of them are just the plain gloved hands, and then there are 2 of the I'll call them transformation hands for want of a better expression. But yeah, let's take a look at the quality of the sculpt here. Let's get this into camera. And now these gloves are, very, very well done. Yeah, they are indeed. The stitching detail on the back is there. The camera's focusing on this. The paintwork is very good, quite pretty screen accurate as far as I can tell. It's that slightly off-white, almost vaguely grey, but it looks like there's a couple of paint washes on there, maybe 2 or 3 paint washes on there to get that material look. There's creasing in the glove where it joins the wrist. There's creasing in the hands. There's seams in the sides there and around the thumb and up the length of the thumb. Let's do the flexibility test while we're here. I'll say this is a soft to medium, this hand, and as viewers to my channel will know, that is my preferred tensile strength of hand. But yeah, very well done. Not an awful lot to say about those other than very, very well done and very screen accurate. There is a pointing finger with the same quality of paint and sculpt. As I mentioned before, this has got a wrist peg on it actually because it's been in the figure when I took it off. This is the balloon holding hand, and slightly different to the rest of the hands in as much as it's got a little hole there, if the camera is picking that up, which is for the balloon. But we'll come to that when we bring the figure out itself. But yeah, multitude of different hands. You've got 2 fisted hands, same quality of sculpt and paintwork on all of them. Let's take a look at these transformation monster hands. Now, obviously these gloves are meant to have ripped in the sort of the beasting out process, shall we say? And yeah, very nicely done it is too. There are rips in the palms there. The black fingers are protruding. The paintwork is really, really nice on those. The camera's focusing on this. The nails are very, very well painted. There's some subtle shading there. They're black, fading out to a sort of a light brown at the ends. There's weathering on there to give it that sort of worn, dirty look. Yeah, great paint applications and great attention to detail and pretty screen accurate as far as I can tell. So, yep, and you get a right and a left monstering out hand. So, yep, those are the hands. Let's put those to one side. Let's make some space because there's an awful lot of accessories here. I know a lot of people were saying that this sort of was worthy of a DX, a Hot Toys DX release. But, yeah, let's crack on and take a look at everything else. That's the hands out of the way. Let's take a look at this little bow. This is rather excellent. I do like this. It's the small things that please me. It's the SS George that's written on there, as you can see from the beginning of I think it's chapter 1 actually, that this actually belongs to, not chapter 2, but yeah, it's the boat that his brother makes for him out of wax covered paper that goes down the drain, and I believe it's just one piece of sculpted plastic, but the way it's been painted and varnished, it does look like wax coated paper. Very nicely done it is too. Small but effective. So I'll put that to one side. Oh yeah, we were talking about the hands. Obligatory wrist pegs, 2 of, never opened, which is always a good sign as far as I'm concerned. So we'll put those to one side. What next? Let's take a look at the music box. Now this is rather nice. It's all sculpted plastic, no metal here. The handle doesn't work. It's just one piece of sculpted plastic in the side there. On the front there is a picture of possibly Pennywise himself or a similar clown, but I'm assuming it's Pennywise. There are some stars on the top there. And the same images is repeated on the back. Now this does actually lift up, and this is where the it's a bit dusty. This has not been used for a while. This is where the other accessory comes in, and it's a sort of clown in the box, if you will. Jack in the box, clown in the box, call it what you will. But this sort of stylized image of Pennywise, and this is really, really nice actually. It's very, very well done. It's all one piece of sculpted plastic, but it's got this sort of greyed out, faded look to it, washed out. The face is grey, the hair is dull, the outfit looks worn, but yeah, and that simply has a peg in the bottom there, and it slots into the box thusly. So if you are wanting to complement your display with this, it really does ground the figure and give it some context, and just adds that extra little bit of atmosphere. And I think it's a really, really nice touch and very, very well made. So props to Hot Toys there on that accessory. I do like that. What else do you get? Let's take a look at this skateboard. Very nice once again it is too. Those who are familiar with the film will know where the skateboard fits in. I'm not going to plot spoil anything for those who haven't seen either of them, if there's anybody out there who hasn't. But yeah, it's essentially a 1/6 skateboard. The top here is covered in I mean, it actually feels like this is wood, and I'm not sure whether this is plastic. I think, yeah, it's all one. It's sculpted plastic. The wheels are plastic. The board itself is plastic, but it's been painted to look like wood, and it's got this sort of grip tape effect on the top there. The wheels themselves move, and obviously underneath you've got this rather horrific blood spatter on the wheels and on the axles, and it says won't be there for him either, and everyone will know what that refers to. But yeah, another nice little touch there from Hot Toys. And great to add to the display to once again give it that grounding, that sense of atmosphere. So yeah, that's there if you want it. What else? There is an awful lot to go at here. Yeah, let's take a look at his balloon. What would Pennywise be without his balloon? Now this is very, very simple but exceptionally effective. It's simply a hard plastic balloon shell with a piece of what I believe is coated string. This has just been simply glued into the end here, and that's it. This coated string, well, it might actually be wire that's been coated with string wrapped around it to give it that rigidity, so that when he holds it, it doesn't fall or slip. Eagle-eye viewers will notice that there's a little bit of tape on there. Now, I had some issues with, and I'll bring that other hand back in. Just bear with me while I find it. This is the hand that actually holds the balloon itself, as we mentioned before, with that little circle in it. And you simply, and if I can do this on camera, it'll be nothing short of a miracle. You simply slot that into there and then pull it through. Now, I think over time, and due to reposing, what's happened is that the actual the string around the wire, or the hard plastic in the centre, has actually started to wear a little bit. So that tape is merely there so that when he is gripping it, it stays upright. But it's a minor niggle, and that's something that's just happened over time and reposing. But yeah, something to watch out for if you're picking this figure up new or pre-owned. So we'll take that balloon out. So yeah, that's the balloon. Put that to one side. What else? A severed arm. Where would we be without a severed arm? And I have to say I do like this. Viewers to my channel know I recently reviewed the Y Studio Leatherface from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I think they could take a lesson here in how to do severed limbs. This is done very, very well. It really is. The sculpt, the wounds on there are look wet. The skin texture is painted very, very well. And it's a bit gory, but this ripped end here looks fleshy and nasty. And I suppose if I was going to complain about anything with this accessory, is that you probably would see some bone in there. But that's a minor niggle. That's me thinking I'm in an anatomy class. But yeah, overall, it's just really, really well done, really gory, and really effective. And once again, it can be displayed holding this. Pennywise can hold it, or it could just simply be added to the display to give it that extra sense of realism. So yeah, very nice work there again from Hot Toys. Let's take a look at this head sculpt before we take a look at this base, because the two sort of interact with each other. And they've done a really, really good job with this base. I have to say, from the get-go, this base is probably one of my favourite Hot Toy bases of all time. It's up there in the top 3 of what I think are the best bases that Hot Toys have ever done. In my collection, I'll add a caveat to that. But yeah, there are 2 head sculpts. One's already on the figure. We'll take a look at that when we bring Pennywise out himself. Which is the normal, and I use the term advisedly, is normal head. And this is the, shall we say, scary head. I mean, they're both scary, but this is perhaps the most scary of the 2. So let's take a close-up look at this. Now, I have to say, from the moment I saw this figure and the moment I saw these head sculpts, I was very, very impressed. I know In Art have done a version of this figure, and it's it could be argued that that is a far, far superior figure, but it's all to do with price point, isn't it, at the end of the day? I think at this price point, they couldn't have done a much better job with these head sculpts. The hair isn't rooted, it's all sculpted plastic, but I think it's some of the best hair I have seen on any Hot Toys figure. The sculpt is amazing. Oh, the camera's picking this up. The individual strands there are so fine. The style is sculpted really, really well. It's absolutely spot on with that sort of semi-quiff and then those turned up right and left hand sides. The colour on the face as well. The painting is absolutely phenomenal, even down to the cracks in the forehead. And I suppose if I was going to be really, really picky, I would say that, you know, maybe they're not quite as highlighted as they are in the films. The cracks in the forehead are perhaps a little bit darker in the movie, but that's a minor niggle. The paintwork is phenomenal. The eyes are incredibly glassy. The work on these teeth is really, really first rate. They're very glossy. They got that wet look to them. There are layers upon layers going back in the mouth, and inside the mouth has been painted with that some of that wet look red paint to give it that real depth and that realistic feel. Yeah, what can I say about this? Paintwork, very, very good. Sculpting, excellent. Really, really first-rate work from Hot Toys here, and they've captured the likeness of Bill Skarsgård really well. So yeah, props to Hot Toys on this one. We'll bring out the base next, so we can see how these two pieces interact. Rather unusual base it is as well. Now, this is the main section of the base itself, and people who've seen Chapter 1, well, I mean, this is where I suppose if you another niggle, if you wanted to be really pedantic, is that this actually, the base itself actually relates to Chapter 1, as does the boat, and as does the skateboard, I believe, as well. So they may have mixed and matched a little bit here, but as I say, it's a minor niggle because the quality of this base is superb. It is plastic. I don't think there's any polystone or anything like that in this. It's not particularly weighty, even though it looks incredibly chunky. And what you've got here essentially is the sewer where Georgie's boat disappears and Pennywise appears in the grate there, in the sewer grate, whatever you want to call it. I mean, essentially what you've got is a plastic bottom to this, matte plastic bottom section. On there is, and that's not actually a sticker. What you've got, it looks like it's etched in. It could be a sticker. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comment section below. I have to forgive any fine hairs that are appearing on here. But yeah, it's got this sort of grainy feel to it, really nice feel to it. It says It Chapter 2, which is actually indented in there, and with the logo, and just looks really, really nice. And then on top of that, let's start with this water effect. You've got at the front here, because obviously it was absolutely bucketing it down with rain when the boat disappeared down the storm drain, and you've got this clear plastic at the front here to simulate water, and there are even red effects here to simulate as he disappeared down the storm drain itself. On the top here, you've got this sort of artificial grass. It's all plastic, relatively sturdy. Not too. It's got a little bit of give to it, but not too much. Round the back, nothing much other than the continuation of that colour from the front, but exceptionally effective it is too, and very, very nice. Not too heavy. Which is great for the display, although once you've got the figure on, it can be an issue getting him into a detail, but we'll cover that when we bring the figure out itself. The bottom here doesn't have any pads on it, so I would say exercise caution if you're putting it onto into a glass detail or onto a smooth surface or a shelf or anything like that. It might slip around a little bit. It's got a little bit of wobble to it, but yeah, it's party piece. This whole section, if I can do this on camera, lifts off, and underneath it attaches by. It's very simple. It's there are 4 pegs here, 4 holes here, and it's simply a case of just pushing it down. But the party piece it has in the centre here is a felt lined indentation, and that is for the. Well, you can store the second head sculpt, either of them. So the one that you're not using, you can pop in there, and then it's simply a case of putting the top back on, and there you go. Now, inside, if I can get the light on this, this really does work very well. Not so much when you're when it's on a shelf and display, because you really need to get some light in there to see it. But the effect there, and not only is it great storage for the for whichever head sculpt you're not using, but the effect there is really great. I think that is fantastic. It's a great little idea, and replicating that scene where his head pops up in the storm drain was just somebody had that idea across the table when they were discussing the production of this thing, and well done to them, that man who had that idea, because I think it's the simple ones that can sometimes be the most effective. And yeah, great way of storing the head, looks fantastic. So there you have it. That's the base. Comes with a dynamic flight pole. This one's got a bend in it for a reason. That's because I've had this guy displayed in a detolf, and having this thing straight up on top of here limits your room. But it simply screws in into the top there, and if it will cooperate on camera, simply screw it in like that, as you do with most Hot Toys dynamic flight poles, and then you've got a waist grabber as well. The waist grabber is lined on the inside here, so you're minimising risk of damage to the outfit, and it has a back support as well. So yeah, that is all your accessories, all the stuff that comes with your Pennywise figure. Love this base, love the accessories. I think it's a definite hats off to Hot Toys here for the work that they put into this figure. So without further ado, let's bring out the main event himself. Let's get Pennywise out onto the turntable and get up close and personal with him. Okay, so here he is, Pennywise himself, onto the stand, onto the turntable, and I think this figure's going to hold the record for the furthest I've had to pull back while shooting a review, simply because of the height that is added by this rather spectacular base to the figure itself. And therein is probably one of the issues if you're going to be displaying him with this base. Getting him into a detolf or similar display cabinet can be tricky. He does fit in just about if he is stood on top of the base, or in front of the base, but it's yeah, it can take some finagling to get him to fit in. If you're displaying it on a shelf, it's not an issue. But yeah, any form of cabinet, it might take a little bit of finagling, as I say, to get this guy in there. But yeah, I'd still rather have this fantastic base and have to try and work with it. But yeah, so as always, what we'll do is we'll start at the bottom and work our way up with this guy. We'll stop him rotating and take a closer look at him. We'll start with the feet, work our way up. The eagle-eyed amongst you will notice that I am not using the waist grabber with this guy. Now, this waist grabber is great if you want to do some of those dynamic poses that you may have seen other reviewers doing, and in other videos and in other photos. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can have in dancing and jumping and all kinds of stuff. But I choose to go for a more, shall we say, sedate pose, a little bit more of a museum pose. And that's not because of fear of damaging the figure particularly. It's just I think this actually looks quite ugly and spoils the lines of this really nice outfit. So I opt not to use it, but yeah, that's just my personal taste. So let's start at the bottom and work our way up. In fact, what we'll do is we'll take him off the turntable. We'll remove the turntable from the equation, because otherwise this camera is going to have to be in a different county to actually get this guy in shot. So let's just take him off the turntable, put that to one side, and let's see if we can't get a little bit closer now that he's not as tall. So bear with me if there's any camera wobble here, but we shall move in on the figure itself. We'll cut off some of that base because we're going to focus on the figure. Right, there we go, that's better. So yeah, the feet themselves, all one piece of sculpted plastic, and they have, I'm not sure if the camera's picking this up, my hand is probably in the way. Let me lower this camera a little bit so we can get in there. I'll move it forward again. Apologies for the wobbly camera work. I'll turn it to this side so we can get a close-up look at these boots themselves, and very nice they are too. Come to about halfway up or just over the calf, and as I say, all one piece of sculpted plastic, but very, very nicely done. Exceptionally well painted, screen accurate, I believe. Sculpted plastic laces, but there's weathering on here. There's sort of a browning of the white areas of the boot. On the front, you've got the bobble, the obligatory red bobble. Yeah, just very, very nicely done. A lot of that boot is actually lost underneath the bottom of these trousers, but these pants, but it still is very, very good work. Let's start with the bindings, and they feel like bindings, but I think it's all one cotton trouser coming out of the bottom of these pantaloons, for want of a better expression. But yeah, you've got these little decorations around the side, which are screen accurate. These are all material. The colour is relatively screen accurate, I believe. It's this sort of grey, light grey. I suppose herein lies one of the issues, and there's only a couple of issues that I have with this figure, and the first one is the weathering on this. There is some weathering on this figure, which we'll touch on when we get up here. You can possibly see that in in this flap here from the jacket. We'll call it a jacket. There is some darkening there, but referencing back to the film itself, he was a lot more weathered than this. This is a little bit too clean, I think. It's on my list to be weathered, to be honest with you. I mean, I've had this, oh crikey, I've had it quite some time now, but the list of figures to be weathered is enormous. It is on there, and it's working its way to the top, but it does need a little bit of attention. There has been some work done to this figure by me already, just a couple of one minor mod, but we'll come to that as we work our way up. But yeah, so cotton pantaloons, nice colour, relatively screen accurate, if not properly weathered. Cotton bindings on the legs. The jacket itself, let's pull this camera back and lift it up so we can take a look at, there we go. Just bear with me if this tripod wants to cooperate. And then we can bring him a little bit closer in as well. Yeah, the stitch work on here, the tailoring is very, very good. very screen accurate. The ruffs at the neck and on the cuffs are very nice. It's got this sort of, it's all cotton, I believe. It feels like cotton. This sort of lace-like material underneath the actual cuffs themselves. I think it's the same material they used on the ruff of the neck. It's got the red bindings that you've got on the halfway down the legs is also on the biceps as well, and then you've got this these wonderful puffy shoulders, which you can futz and fiddle around with if you like them standing out proud. You can do that, or you can flatten them down if you're going for a more perhaps a more straight out of the sewer look. But yeah, let's spin him round and take a look at the back. You have to forgive this dynamic flight pole that's in the way. Or maybe if we just take him off. Let's take him off and have a look. Bring him into camera. And swing these lights around a little bit so you can see the stitch work here. It is very, very good. The 6 scale stitching is excellent. Relatively screen accurate, as I say. You can see those bindings under there. Just the whole thing, very, very well done. The articulation is excellent. The knee joint, very, very good. There feels like there's a ratchet in there. Hips, there's not quite as much movement in there, but once again, I believe that's ratcheted. I think it's got butterfly joints at the elbow. Yes, it has. So yeah, you've got lots of range and scope for movement here. The torso, there's not much movement in that torso. I think this is down to, and I believe there is a padded suit underneath here. Having seen a couple of other reviews and seen some mods of this figure, where people have actually taken the whole suit off and removed this suit underneath to give it more flexibility, so you can do that dynamic sort of dance pose or whatever you're going for, maybe make it that little bit more screen accurate. But on the whole, yeah, the articulation is very, very good. Let's put him back up here. Now, the elephant in the room, I will mention straight away. If you are picking this figure up and you're getting it new, or pre-owned for that matter, and it's not had any work done to it, the ruff will not look like this around the neck. I've actually done a very, very simple mod to this, because straight out of the box, this ruff was too low. He was showing way too much neck, which threw off the proportions a little bit, I thought, and made the head sculpt look too small. So the mod itself is relatively simple. It was one of the first things I ever modded, so I was scared to hell that I was going to damage this figure permanently. Fortunately, I didn't. The ruff itself was actually, it was stuck down. It's actually stitched around the underneath. I'm not going to lift it up because I've actually got cotton in there supporting it. But if you just take the head sculpt off, lift the ruff up, there's about 7 or 8 cotton stitches, white cotton stitches, that you just need to be brave and snip through. Yeah. And then once that's been snipped through, you put this back on. There are some other little bits of cotton holding each individual part of this together. And what I've done is simply just pushed in some cotton. Yeah, didn't need to glue it, didn't need to, because friction holds it in. And they've lifted the ruff up from the neck underneath, put some in between some of the ruffs themselves, and that lifts the whole thing up to right underneath his chin, and it just makes it work better, I think. It sets it off better. You can't see any of that neck particularly, and it makes the head look in proportion to the rest of the body. It's a simple mod, but, you know, it's personal taste. I'm sure a lot of people just will keep it as is out of the box, and I wasn't too bothered about devaluing this figure. I'm never going to sell it. It's something I'm always going to have in the collection, so I wasn't too fussed about getting in there and getting happy, getting scissor happy with it. But yeah, that pretty much is everything on here. You've got these red buttons on the fluffy buttons on the front, 3 of them in line. And another minor niggle I would say is one of these looks like it's slightly, the gap between them is slightly off. These two at the bottom look slightly too close together. It looks like this one's been needs to be slightly raised, but I won't be taking it. I think that's a minor niggle, really. And there you have it. That's that's pretty much the guy himself. The last thing I suppose to really take a look at is this other head sculpt. Now this is my favourite of the two, although I do like the other one, which is peeping out from underneath the off camera, from underneath the storm drain. This is the one I prefer to display him with. Well, let's get this into camera so you can have a close-up look. I'll just swing these lights around a little bit as well. Just bear with me so we can get some more light on this head sculpt. It's pretty much the same high quality as the other head sculpt that we looked at in the accessories section. I'm trying to get the lights right for this so you can see. The only difference really being here is that mouth is replaced by the now iconic SKARSGARD grin. But yeah, it's got the same quality of paintwork and paint applications. The eyes are glassy. The hair is really, really well done, and it's just an excellent likeness from any angle of Bill Skarsgård in the movie. So there you have it. That is Pennywise by Hot Toys from Chapter 2 of It. So I suppose all it remains for me to say is thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this review. What we'll be doing is going over to the detail for a mini showcase. But before we do that, just like to, as before, say a huge thank you to everybody who's liked, commented and subscribed to the channel. It really is appreciated. If you haven't already, please hit that bell notification icon because we've got loads more stuff coming up. In the not too distant future, hoping very soon, we've got the Dragon in Dreams, Pete Mitchell, aka Tom Cruise from Top Gun. He's coming in soon. We've got the Project BM Kaneda's Bike from Akira. Looking forward to that. There's a review for the figure itself, which arrived relatively recently. We'll be doing a review of the bike itself as well. We've got Hot Toys, Dead Strange, finally coming. He got tied up somewhere in Australasia, but finally will be arriving on these shores. Sideshow Dirty Harry as well. We're still waiting on that one. Coming from a supplier who shall remain nameless, but is taking their own sweet time, shall we say. X06, Admiral Picard, I think I've already mentioned that one. Another one coming in pretty soon as well, Star Race, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a companion piece to the Blitzway Ghostbusters that we reviewed recently on the channel. If you haven't seen that, please check out the review. And also as well, we're going to be changing scales a little bit. We're going to be getting the NECA Alien Queen in for review as well. So looking forward to that one. But yeah, all it remains for me to say is thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves. Happy collecting, and it's over to the Detolf.